Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to the 2016 Little League World Series here in South Williamsport, Pennsylvania from the Williamsport Sun-Gazette. I am Mitch Rupert, standing alongside the one and only Dr. Chris Masse. And Chris, you said yesterday the only way the 70th edition of the Little League World Series gets better than last year's 69th edition was if we saw some fireworks. I think we saw some fireworks last night. Goodlettsville, Tennessee walks it off with a two-run hit in the bottom of the sixth inning from Robert Carroll. Is that what you were talking about when you said that's how this tournament gets better?
I was thinking about that as soon as they loaded the bases there in the sixth inning, thinking about what we had talked about earlier in the day. And and the setup was great, bases loaded. He strikes out Ethan Jackson for the second out. Jackson had 2 home runs in the Southeast final. So all this drama. Robert Carroll, who had never had a walk-off hit before, comes on, drives it to Caleb Carpenter, almost makes a sensational catch in right field. It had it all. Right down to the last pitch of the game, you were on the edge of your seat. And it felt that way from the first pitch of the game with Zach McWilliams and Zach Reynolds dealing. It felt like it was going to go have that kind of a dramatic ending.
I thought Jessica Mendoza said it best on ESPN last night, where Caleb Carpenter, he timed the jump perfectly. He jumped as high as he could. He just a little short on making that catch. And if he makes that catch, that maybe is the best defensive play of this tournament.
Oh, yeah. That you'd have to go back to, I think it was the 2007 World Series. I can't remember the kid's name, but there was a kid from Massachusetts in center field who robbed the Hamilton, Ohio kid of a walk-off home run over at Volunteer Stadium. It would be the best play since then to leap up and rob it and save the day for his team. It would have been amazing. But heck of an effort, did all he could. Just needed to be a few inches taller, which I can relate to.
what you were just talking 5'7" and a half?
And a half.
Did you grow since last year?
I don't know. I think
did you shrink?
I think I shrunk like a quarter of an inch because I think it was 3/4 there. But officially it's 5'7" and a half. You got to get the half in there.
I pointed out to a friend that Chris actually stands closer to the camera than I do, so the difference doesn't look as bad. Because if I stand next to him, I'm
going to stand on a box next time.
One of these days, I'm going to bring that along. That game last night was pretty huge, Chris. Just as in terms of talking about an elimination game for Saturday. Now you've got a New England, Warwick, Rhode Island team who's got its ace Colin Lemieux on the mound versus an Oregon team that just had its heart broken in the bottom of the sixth inning. It's going to take a lot for these kids to bounce back, but you and I both know kids here at this tournament, they're pretty resilient.
Yeah, and that's what Steve Moore, the Oregon manager, said. He said, we're going to get them some pizza 15 minutes from now, and they'll forget all about it. And I think him and his coaching staff they strike the right balance between wanting to win and keeping things in perspective and keeping the kids loose and having fun. And they've been through this before. They lost the first game in the Northwest Regional to Washington and had to fight all the way through the losers bracket. And they did it. They beat Washington in the final. So they can lean on that they've at least been here before. So they'll be ready to play. They're a resilient team. They've proven it. And they showed last night they're a pretty darn good team to be that close to beating Goodlettsville.
You know how tough it is to come back through the losers bracket, especially losing that first game here. It's all about the pitching. Does Oregon have enough in its pitching to make that kind of run?
That's the big question. And personally, I don't think they do, just because Zach Reynolds threw the 85 pitches last night. Now needs 4 days rest, so they got to win a lot of games or multiple games without him. And that's one thing they didn't have to do in San Bernardino. San Bernardino. We'll edit that out.
No, we won't.
This is why I'm a writer and not a talker. The point of the story is that Reynolds they were still able to throw him and pick their spots with him in every game throughout regionals. Now they don't have that, so it makes the journey that much tougher. And it's definitely going to be tough for them to get into that Final Four.
If you want to find out how good Zach Reynolds was, watch the Goodlettsville offense over its next couple games, and if they take off, Zach Reynolds might be one of the better pitchers here at this tournament. So I think as this tournament grows, as that Goodlettsville team takes off a little bit, you're going to appreciate what he did a little more. Chris, I'd love to ask you about the international field because you're not over there, and I like to see how you can work your way through this. Panama put a huge win up on Mexico yesterday. Number one, great uniform color. They look like the Miami Dolphins out there. The teal just looks really good. But 10-2 over Mexico, who's traditionally one of the top 3 international teams over in that international tournament. That's got to be a pretty big statement there for Panama.
Absolutely, and not to take anything away from Australia, who beat Italy, but they're not traditionally. They don't traditionally do well here. So Panama is in a great spot right now, where if they win Sunday, they're in the winners bracket final. You preserve your pitching. Looking ahead, maybe it's South Korea or Japan they end up playing at some point, and all the ducks are kind of lining up for them right now. And like you said, to beat Mexico, who almost always is among the Final Four international teams here, that's a huge way to start, and it's got to give them that much more confidence moving forward.
Look how he works his way. See, that's a true professional right there. The biggest statement by Panama yesterday since Van Halen.
I don't know if it was as big as that, because that's a heck of a song.
That's a heck of a song. But there's a reason they don't play it over here, and they probably shouldn't. Last thing, this is going to go up later. Big day games here on Friday. What's the one game you're most looking forward to?
Refresh my memory.
Well, Japan's about to play Canada. South
Kentucky
Korea's going to play Kentucky.
Kentucky
Texas.
plays Texas tonight.
Remember what I said about a true professional?
Yeah. California, Iowa. I think that's the first game today. We'll figure it out eventually.
I think that's a bit of a mismatch.
California, I think, is the team to beat, and in Iowa, I mean, traditionally the Midwest has struggled here. They haven't made it into the Final Four U.S. teams since 2000, and that was back when they were still in the field, U.S. field. They got to the U.S. final that year. I don't think they've seen the level that they're going to see when they play California tonight. But that's why they play the games. I mean, I thought Tennessee was not going to blow Oregon out last night, but maybe win it convincingly. But I think the Kentucky-Texas game is the main event per se today. I think that's going to be a great game. Even with Isaiah Head not being able to throw, they still have Devin Ovey and Carson Myers. Texas always is a tough out of the series. Kentucky, fourth in the country last year. They're going to be a tough out too. So it's kind of hard to believe one of those teams will be in the losers bracket right off the bat.
Plenty to see here on day 2 of the 2016 Little League World Series. Plenty to see tomorrow on Saturday in elimination games. That's where you see the heartbreaks, but a chance for kids to really battle through after a tough loss. That's going to do it for us here from the second day, Friday edition of the 2016.
I'll do better tomorrow.
That's not a promise I'm ready to accept.
I can't get much worse. So
can't be. This was not good. But it's going to go up there anyway. From the Williamsport Sun-Gazette, I'm Chris Masse. Let's do that again. From the Williamsport Sun-Gazette, I'm Mitch Rupert, and he's Chris Masse. And unfortunately,
that's a fitting end.
That is so right. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you later.